I'm really sorry. My voice is not the best today. It's either because of the weather, we're entering monsoon season, or because the past month has been real crazy. And a part of me was thinking of not doing a podcast this month because I was just so overwhelmed with a lot of things, and I was like, I need a break. I need to take it easy. But the show must go on, and I do have some things I wanted to talk about in this podcast, but I think it's going to be a lot more casual than my other podcasts because they're more in depth. I usually have a lot of projects, but November, because I was so busy with a whole lot of stuff, I didn't actually manage to finish anything until quite literally this morning. And it wasn't even knitting, it was crochet. But yeah, I forgot to do the intro. Hello everybody, my name is Bash Harry and this is the Harry Knit. If you're new here, hi. And if you're not new, you know the drill. We make a lot of content about knitting and all the crafting stuff occasionally. November has been wild. I did not realize it was going to be as busy as it was, especially entering November. I think it was just like one thing after another. And it was a good thing that I like pre-filmed some videos because I don't think I would have had any time to film this one or like December's because there was just a lot of things going on in life. I directed my first play. Yay, it was really fun. It was a private show, but we're hoping to do a public one in January, hopefully. And that was really good. A lot of people had thoughts on it, and it was really fun to be able to direct my first play and just go back to my theater kid days, but not as an actor, as a director. So that was really fun. And I was doing my pitch for the Harry Knit like a few weeks ago. I think it was a week ago, and that took a lot of my time as well. I have a show coming up on Saturday. Not a special show. I'm literally just awarding trophies to singers, and I think that's happening on Saturday. And I also have some content that I have to film this week and next week. And right now my mind is all over the place. Usually I like to think I have a good head on my shoulders when it comes to organizing, but the past month has been so taxing on me that I can feel my body kind of rejecting journaling and just wanting to sit on the couch and not do anything, which is fair. I don't think that's a bad thing, and I think we all deserve those breaks in between. And it's also the end of the year, so I don't feel like I want to shame myself for taking a few days off just to recompose and take it easy. Today was one of those days. I was 50-50 on whether or not I wanted to film, to be honest, but I did miss putting a camera and filming. It's been a while for me, and I want to get slowly back into filming more regularly. It doesn't feel like it for you, but I did miss a week of filming and I felt really bad. But I have some things that I wanted to talk about, some plans, other stuff. I know in the last podcast I showed some of my whips that I had. One of them I frogged. It was the Sayanku vest. Because one, I realized if you're doing cables, you need more yarn than you think you do. And I did not have enough yarn, which is so unfortunate because I think that project was coming along nicely. And two, I think I said in the last podcast about the Jazelle blouse, and I'll touch on it a little bit later. And I am almost finished with it. But it made me realize I do not like working sleeves a lot. And if something has sleeves, it's going to take me a long time to finish it. It's kind of like second sock syndrome to me. Because I do not like making sleeves or socks. I'm not a repetitive person that way. I want to finish something and then do something else. So that's why I tend to do a lot of t-shirts, or I do vests or tank tops because they're super quick for me and they're really fun to do. But I know that sleeves are a lot more mindless. So I'm not gonna try to over-exert myself in this video because I can feel my voice going away and it sucks. But I do want to show you my first FO of November, my only FO of November. And it is crochet, and it is a giant Tyrannosaurus Rex, and his name is Timmy. He is so big. Look at him. I just finished him this morning. I finished the body yesterday, and then I crocheted the tail, the legs, and the arms this morning, and then I sewed it in while I was watching Squid Game The Challenge, which, mind you, is a very good show if you want to see some really, just very intense reality show. You sometimes need to watch garbage. And it was really great garbage. I'm going on a tangent. They are very cute and very big. And this is using blanket yarn that I got. It's unbranded. I got it from our local store. With 6mm hook, and I got the eyes for like a pack. I think this is 20mm eyes. This was the largest eyes that they had. And initially I started it with 8mm hook, but it was going so fast. It was hurting my hands, and the stitches weren't so tight, and I was worried about, and my worries were very true, because I tried stuffing it to see how it looked like. And you could see the stuffing through the stitches, and I didn't like that look, especially since this is for a kid, and I didn't want them to see the stuffing, so I decided to size down to a 6mm. I thought I could size down to a 7, and I feel like I could have, but then if I did a 7, I would have needed an extra ball of yarn, because this took up 2 balls of yarn. This took up 2 balls of very chunky blanket yarn. I was playing yarn chicken when I was finishing up the little tail. But I think he's really cute. And this is definitely so big for the kid. I'm making this and another one in pink later on for these kids. And initially, I thought it was going to be pretty small. But because I chose a blanket yarn and 6mm hook, it came out much bigger than I anticipated. And I'm not mad at it. I know some people had issues with the stripes. I saw in the pattern, and I'll link it down below, I can't remember the name, but this pattern is called Timmy the T-Rex on Ravelry. Some people had really big issues with how the striping was. I was not going to do the stripes. I'm still very much a novice when it comes to crochet. So I decided to just do one solid color, and if I had enough yarn, I would do spikes. Did not have enough yarn for the spikes. So just keep that in mind if you want to make Timmy. He was relatively easy. He didn't take as long as I thought. Like, when you're knitting him, he doesn't seem as big as you think he's gonna be, but he's huge. And I'm gonna make another one. I'm making it this one is for a 4-year-old, and I have the same yarn in pink, and this is like a baby pink yarn that I'm making for his sister, and I'm hoping this is enough yarn as well. I'm gonna stick to the same one. And what I like about crochet compared to knitting is, at least when you're making plushies or amigurumis, is that it's different stitches all the time. When you're doing a magic ring, you have to count. It's kind of, your brain is always working, and I quite like that. It's not as repetitive as knitting is. And even though knitting is like my first love, will be and always will be, I like that about crochet. I like that I have to really keep in mind what's going on. And yeah, I think that's why I'm more willing to make a second dinosaur as opposed to like making like a sweater twice. I think that's just my preferred reason to make crochet gifts. Plus, crocheted plushies are so cute to give as gifts. I don't know if I'd ever sell him. I might, but I don't know anybody who would want a giant dinosaur. Actually, no, I know quite a few people who would like a giant dinosaur. He's so cute. When I finished him and I took a picture, I was like, I do not want to throw him away. I do not want to give him away now, but I have to. Because he's so cute. Look at him. He's so big and fluffy and squishy too. I thought I did not have enough filling for him. I bought like a huge kilo of filling, and he stuffed half of it, so he's actually kind of heavy for a toy. I didn't have to fill him so much, but I wanted him to be not stiff, but kind of like full. I think if I could change something, it would definitely be the placement of the arms and the legs. The pattern was a little confusing when it came to where to attach. I think it could have been more clear, but overall, I really like him. He's so cute. He's very red. And it was on request. He wanted a red dinosaur. His sister wants pink. Actually, no, she said yellow, but there was no yellow yarn, so we decided to go for pink. And he's so cute. And we're going to make another one. And then I'm going to wrap him in a bow. And then maybe do an end fold here on his butt, because I have some end folds that I bought on Shopee quite a while back. So I might just sew it on. But we're gonna set him aside. I don't know where to put him. I'll put him over there. I can't believe that was my only FO for November, even though I've been knitting almost every day. Well, not every day. I have definitely taken breaks because of work. But I managed to do one new project and I'm still working on my Jazelle blouse. I'll talk a little bit about my Jazelle blouse. She's bright, she's fluffy, she kind of looks very Cinderella-y. Do you see that? My one annoyance is that the mohair color is slightly different than the blue of this. This is Drops Baby Merino. This is Drops Kid Silk. Do we see that? The color difference is just so minor, but it's really annoying to me. But she's done. The body is at least done. I have to work on the sleeve now. I did do a little bit of changes when it came to the sleeve. It's originally supposed to be much longer than what I did, but I realized that I did not want long sleeves when it came to this pattern. I kind of wanted it to be short. I wanted to play into the Cinderella element of it. And I think I made right with my decision. I just have to start knitting the cuff. And I was already 50-50 on whether or not I wanted to do the cuff, to be honest, because I saw somebody on Ravelry who didn't do the cuff and I thought it looked really nice. But then at the same time, I think if I don't like the cuff, I could just rip it, frog it, and then just keep it at the length that it was. I was showing it to my friends and they said to keep it short, and I agree. I think it's really nice. And I really do admire Fable Knitwear's designs. I think they're really pretty, they're really beautiful. But there's something about the body here that I think doesn't hug right to me. This is double-stranded, and I think ribbing, it's 50-50 a lot of the time whether it'll fit my body well. I think sometimes it looks a little off and I don't know why. I think I have to finish the piece and then I'll figure it out. But this is as much yarn as I have left. My thinking is I am going to continue knitting the cuff until I finish this because the pattern recommends about, I want to say 4 inches. I'm not going to do that. I think I'm just going to do 1 or 2 inches, or at least as much as I have for this, cast off, and then I'll see how it goes. And then I'll immediately start working on the second sleeve. This is not a pattern that I would recommend for a beginner, to be honest. Not because I don't think the design is beautiful. I think it's also because this is a bottom up. I would always recommend a top down for a beginner if that's what they like, so they could see what the pattern looks like. But also I found some, not all, of the instructions a little bit confusing. So I want to keep that in mind when I'm designing something as well, or when I'm reading other designers' pieces, is it readable to me? And occasions I get very confused. I think it was the same for me when I was knitting up. I think it was the Antiquity blouse 2 years ago and I never finished it. I frogged it, I think a month or 2 while I was working on it. It was so devastating because I was really eyeing that pattern. But yeah, I think overall, the Fable Knitwear blouse, the Jazelle blouse is really pretty. Working on sleeves is crazy, man. I am not a sleeve person. I love knitting, and I feel like when it comes to knitting sleeves or socks, I really have to sit down and just knit it, like put on a TV show and start knitting, because if it wasn't for a good TV show, I will rather do something else. I'm going to touch on that very briefly. Another thing that I worked up is, and this one I think I started maybe, I don't even want to say a week ago. I think it's been the past 4 days. I frogged the Sayang vest, the one that with the hearts that I mentioned in my last podcast, because I was not happy with the amount of yarn that I had left, and I think there was something off with the lace pattern and I wanted to fix it. But this one, I used Noro Kureyon, and it is a self-drafted pattern, and it is your very simple oversized sweater. This is using Noro Kureyon, and I love the colors, I love the stripes. I never saw myself as a stripy girl. I've usually only worked with one color, but now working on like this sweater with the stripes, I'm absolutely in love with it. It's so pretty. I love the colors. This is everything I want. I am using Noro Kureyon, which recommends like 4 to 5 millimeter needles, but I'm actually using 10 millimeter needles because, one, I didn't have enough yarn. I knew I didn't have enough yarn to make like a full sweater with only 5 skeins of yarn if I used 5mm needles. But I also wanted to play around with weight. And I wanted to play around with like designing something that was oversized but still very light, which is why I decided to knit up this sweater. My one issue is I should have gotten one more ball of yarn, at least one more, because I think I only have this much for the body. There's not a lot. And I have one more ball of yarn, and that is for the second sleeve, because this is super oversized. I think this one I'm knitting the size medium or small, I haven't decided yet, and this is about 10 inches of positive ease, which is quite a lot, 10 inches, but I wanted that for this design. But this is already one ball of yarn for one sleeve, and this was as much yarn as I have left, just this much. So I'm looking at this pattern and I'm thinking, if I have enough to do 16 inches for the body, then I don't need to buy another ball of yarn, but then the whole finishing would be raw. And I do not think I have enough to like do the hems that I like, because I'm not actually a fan of raw edges. I either do a rib, but I don't think I want to do rib for this. I want to do either an I-cord or like the fold or a crochet hook. That's just because I like the look of it. I think it's much cleaner than a raw edge. But my worry is if I have enough yarn or not. I can buy some yarn online at Wool Warehouse, but at Wool Warehouse it's like £8.79. Whereas when I bought it in Japan, when my sister bought it for me in Japan, I think it was like $5 Brunei or like $6 Brunei, which in pounds I think was like £3-ish. Allegedly, I cannot remember it off the top of my head. I just know it was cheaper buying it in Japan. So I'm a bit disappointed with myself for not trying to find another ball of yarn. But I really like the fit and I really like the design. I'm just hoping I have enough for the sweater, because it's a really pretty sweater and I really love an oversized. The one thing is I think I did do the neckline a bit deeper than I anticipated, so it kind of sits a bit weird. And that's the thing when you're designing something, you need to know your pattern really well. And I know that if the neckline is loose, I do want to I want to make it tighter with a crochet hook, or I'm going to have to start all over again, which is not the worst thing in the world, I'll be honest with you, especially with a pattern like this, which is so fast. But that is something I have to think about. That is something I have to deal with. But ultimately, I will say 10 out of 10 for the color. It is so beautiful. I can see why people love working with Noro Crayon, and it's so fun to say crayon, like crayon, but Japanese. It's so cute. I love it. I don't have much to show for today, and I think you can tell my voice is not the best. It is hoarse. It is tired. It needs a break, and hopefully December will be the break I need. It won't be. I have too much to do this December, and I was talking about it with my partner. December feels a lot busier because this is usually when there's a lot of events going on and I have some work to do for my outside jobs. And then next year, wedding planning starts. Wedding planning is a beast. She is a beast and a half that I do not want to work with. But we must, because the wedding business and industry is so vast and large, especially the Malay wedding industry. Very big. I've been talking to people who are getting married next year. It's also very stressful for them. But I don't want to complain. I want to rest. That's the main thing that I want to do tonight. Anyway, I think that is all from me. I'm really sorry that this podcast is a lot shorter than what I'm used to, but I think you can tell we both deserve the break here. But if you do like this video, please do like, comment, and subscribe. I promise I will sound and feel a lot better next week. So subscribe, because I will look and feel a lot better. But until then, my name is Bash Harry, and thanks so much for watching. Bye!